That's right. I'm one of those uncivilized, barbaric, absolute savages that prefers non-transforming Transformers over traditional transforming Transformers. And some of my favorite versions of these things are the YoloPark model kits. So today we're taking a look at the brand new G1 inspired Bumblebee. I'm very excited for this figure. I've been wanting them to do a Bumblebee figure ever since I checked out the Optimus Prime that they did last year. That and Megatron were some of my favorite figures of the year. And when I was reviewing those, I was like, man, I want them to do a Bumblebee and a Soundwave. Now we have Bumblebee. They just got to do Soundwave and then we'd be all set. But taking a very quick look at the box, it's a very long, tall box. That's why I kind of have it on its side like this. But as you can see, we get some cool looking graphics on the front with Bumblebee and Optimus Prime doing their thing. This is a flip open cover. So when you open this up, this is where you could see all the pieces. And yes, these are model kits, but they snap together very easily. They're basically just like Build-A-Figures, That's kind of how they function. And then on this side, we get some information about Bumblebee and some poses and just a look at how things come together. On the back of the box, we get a look at the other characters that came out alongside Bumblebee, including Optimus Prime, Starscream, and Megatron. I do have those figures as well. I think I'm going to do a review for Optimus Prime and for Starscream. I don't know about Megatron, but we'll see. But yeah, man, I love that we get these G1 versions. These ones look like they jumped right out of the cartoon. So I'm very excited about this and these other figures. And yeah, that's about it for the packaging. It does look good and all that cool stuff, but enough about the pretty box. Let's go ahead and get right into this. And here's a quick look at the instructions. As you can see, everything is very simple and they break everything down in a very easy to follow and comprehensive way. So that's nice. And yeah, man, these things are so easy to put together. All right, so I changed my mind. Originally, I wasn't going to show the building process because I don't want to waste anyone's time. But I put this guy together and it was so simple that I just wanted to go ahead and disassemble it and film myself putting it together, because literally it took me under 3 minutes to put it together and then like another minute to realize I put something on incorrectly or whatever. So it was very quick. And yeah, under 5 minutes, I was posing this figure around and messing with it. But let me go ahead and show you. So as you can see, like all the parts kind of come laid out in the way that they should come together. So best thing to do is to grab the torso and then grab the head. Honestly, the hardest part is trying to get them out of the tray, get the little pieces out of the tray. But you could pop his head on like that. Boom. Easy money. And then we have his shoulders, which again, pop in very easily. Like I mentioned before, everything just kind of feels like a Build-A-Figure, like a Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure, the way everything comes together. Put the arm on. Shoulder. This is like one of the easiest YoloPark model kits that I've seen so far. And it's probably because, Bumblebee has a fairly simple design, but yeah, everything just comes together very easily. Throw his hands on real quick. At first, like I didn't realize that it was gonna be such an easy thing to do, I just started putting it together and was like, oh, one thing I did have an issue with was this. Like I accidentally put this on incorrectly the first time. Let me make sure I have it right now. You just got to make sure to have the front and back piece on the right way because they are similar to each other. There we go. Man, they did some crazy stuff on this Bumblebee. Look at that. Looking good, right? Put the legs on. Man, this thing is so dope. Can't wait to show you all the cool stuff that he has going on. Where are we at? Under 3 minutes, even with the whole explanation. Put these little bumpers on his feet. See him all fumbling around trying to get the stuff out of the tray. And honestly, this is how long it took me the first time I put it together. It was so quick. I mean, maybe, a little bit longer, but it just all came together so easily. Look at that. It's so easy to put these things together. This is by far the easiest YoloPark model kit that I've ever messed with. But man, this is awesome stuff. And boom, there we go. Bumblebee fully assembled. And yeah, man, like I said, the whole assembly process is very easy. It's enjoyable. It's a whole lot of fun to put these things together. And when it comes to like transforming versus non-transforming figures, I totally understand the appeal. It's a really good time to sit there and transform these characters from robots into vehicles or whatever. It's relaxing, to sit around and fiddle with the Transformers figure. I totally get it. But I feel like these YoloPark model kits kind of offer something similar to that, but just in a different way because it's fun to assemble these things. And, you have that like sense of accomplishment once you put them together, and it kind of reminds me of transforming a figure. It's not quite the same, but it gives you something a little more than just a regular action figure right out of the box. So I do feel like it's comparable in that way. And then with these, it kind of appeals to me more because once you put them together, you have like these really nice looking, clean, super articulated versions of these characters. So you could get that with transforming figures too, but whenever there's transformation involved, there's always going to be some type of sacrifice to the articulation or the aesthetic or whatever. And sometimes, I mean, in a lot of cases, that's fine, But yeah. Anyways, I really like the whole concept here, building these things and then ending up with a really good looking version of the character. And this Bumblebee is freaking fantastic. I knew I was gonna like it. I'm a big fan of this line. I was excited for this figure, but man, it still kind of blew me away. They did a lot of little interesting things here that I wasn't expecting. Look at that, man. It's like a perfect G1 Bumblebee. It's so cool. I love the bright yellow, the Autobots logo on the chest, the silver face. Man, the contrast between the black and the yellow looks great on him. The big old feet. Yeah, man. It has a bunch of articulation too. There's some articulation points that I wasn't expecting on here, so that's awesome. And they just did some clever things with the articulation too. So I'll show you all that in just a minute. But man, as soon as I put this guy together, I was just instantly super happy with it. I was like, oh man, they killed it. This thing is amazing. But let's go ahead and take a look at the details on him. They did a great job sculpting things. Everything is very clean and it looks nice. And I think that YoloPark did a great job with Bumblebee's head sculpt. I especially like his silver face. I think that looks really cool. You've got the blue eyes that pop and look really nice. The paintwork on the face is very clean too, although I do see a small imperfection on the side of the mouth there, but honestly, it's not something that I could see with the naked eye. I'm only able to notice it because I'm zoomed in with the camera here. But yeah, aside from that small imperfection, I think the face sculpt is really dope. And the head does have some details here on the forehead and then with the horns and then, a little bit on the back. Not a whole lot. But yeah, man, this face sculpt looks awesome. Some of these details would have benefited from just a little bit of a wash or maybe some line work. Some line work would be really cool. Really give it that animated look. And then moving on to the body, he does have the Autobots logo on the chest. It looks really good. And again, I like the way the red looks. It pops on the yellow there and looks nice. And then for the windows on his torso chest area, the windows kind of have a blue tint to them. So that's cool. So yeah, man, really great work with the details on Bumblebee. Aside from that, not a whole lot to talk about, really. He does have, minor details throughout, like right here. And then, he's got some line work on the arms and stuff. He's got the spare tire on the back here. That looks nice. And yeah, just some really clean sculpting throughout. Not a whole lot of paintwork other than, on the face and on the chest. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot of paintwork. So, like I said, I think some paintwork would have been nice on him. Some really solid dark lines would have been cool. But yeah, I think they did a nice job with the details here. He looks really good. Down here at the feet, he does have his big ol' feet with the tires. And, is this the trunk? I think it's the trunk, right? I don't know. But yeah, these look good, man. He's got the bumpers for the toes. So yeah, it's a really nice looking Bumblebee figure. Again, looks like it jumped right out of the G1 cartoon. So I think they definitely nailed the look that they were going for. And yeah, man, it's an awesome looking figure. And then as far as the accessories go, honestly, he doesn't come with a whole lot. I wish that he came with a little bit more, but he does have 2 sets of hands, including a pair of fists. And then he comes with a set of gun gripping hands. And these can be used to hold on to the blaster that he comes with. And the blaster is cool and everything. There's not a whole lot to it. You can see that we've got a little bit of sculpting on there, a little bit of detail work, It looks cool. It definitely has like a sci-fi kind of vibe to it, and he's able to hold on to it with no problem, so that's always good. But yeah, the blaster's cool, and the two sets of hands are nice, but it would have been cool if he came with like an extra head sculpt with maybe like a different facial expression or something, or maybe some more expressive hands or something, you know. But again, this is not like a super expensive figure, so you know, it is what it is. It kind of, I understand the fact that it's kind of light on the accessories, but it would have been cool if he came with a little bit more. Alrighty, so now for some size comparisons. Here we have Bumblebee alongside the YoloPark Megatron and the YoloPark Optimus Prime. And I always call these two G1 inspired. I'm not sure if that's really accurate. They kind of feel G1, but they definitely have a more like realistic, you know, darker type of paint job. And it's very cool. I love these two figures. I would love to see that same style paint job on Bumblebee. So hopefully they get to that eventually. Who knows if they will, but it would make sense for them to do it because, you know, they put out like straight up G1 colors of these two characters to go along with this Bumblebee. So it would make sense that they put out a Bumblebee that would go along with these two with the darker paint style. Anyways, I think these look really good together. I feel like Bumblebee may be a little on the big side, just slightly. I feel like he's a little tall next to Optimus Prime. Sometimes in the G1 show, he was much smaller. I don't know. Maybe the G1 Optimus Prime is bigger. I guess we'll see. Anyways, they still look really good together. And then here we have Bumblebee alongside the 3-0 Bumblebee and the 3-0 Optimus Prime. And as far as non-transforming, super articulated Transformers figures, 3-0 does some incredible work. Like these two figures are awesome, but they do kind of have like their own unique style. They kind of feel a little bit more comic book inspired, which is amazing. But it's really cool that we have YoloPark as an option for true G1 style Transformers that are super articulated. And then here we have the G1 Bumblebee alongside the movie Bumblebee by YoloPark. And then on the opposite side, we have the Transformers AMK miniseries Bumblebee, also by YoloPark. And when I first got that figure, it made me all hyped up because I like this little guy a lot. And it gave me confidence that when YoloPark finally got around to doing like the main Bumblebee in their AMK series, that they were going to do a good job. And that's exactly the case. So I'm very happy that it worked out that way. Next up, we have Bumblebee alongside the Masterpiece Soundwave. Still love that figure. He's kind of old, but he's still really dope. And I can't wait for YoloPark to eventually get to an AMK series Soundwave. I do have the Blockies Action Edition Soundwave on the way. I'm excited for that one, but I would love to see YoloPark's take on a G1 Soundwave. And then on the opposite side, we have Tarn. That's such a cool figure. This one's by Hasbro. I don't remember exactly what line it's from or anything like that. But you know what? YoloPark did do an AMK Tarn figure, but I tried to hit them up for a sample and they told me that they don't sell it or they don't have it. We have to get it through like other means because it's actually distributed by Hasbro. So that's kind of interesting. But anyways, yeah, man, I want to get my hands on that Tarn figure because it looks great. And then next up, we have Bumblebee alongside Rodimus Prime. And I don't really remember exactly what series this figure's from, but it's super dope. And then on the opposite side, we have the Hasbro Studio Series Transformers 86 movie Hot Rod. And that figure is still so awesome. One of my favorite Transformers figures. It's really dope. And he's another character that I would love to see from YoloPark. I think they would do a great job with it. But for now, I love my Hasbro Hot Rod there. That thing is dope. Man, Hasbro does a great job with Transformers. Not every single figure is amazing or anything, but for the most part, they've been solid with Transformers forever. And they continue to put out really good Transformers figures to this day. So yeah, they're killing it. But I like that there's so many other brands doing like different interpretations of Transformers. You know, it's so cool that there's so many different options out there. And then going away from Transformers for a minute, here we have Bumblebee alongside the NECA, Archie Comics, Stump Wrestling Raphael. On the opposite side, we have the Super 7 2003 Ninja Turtles animated series Raphael. And then here's Bumblebee alongside the Mezco 112 Collective G.I. Joe Roadblock. On the opposite side, we have the Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man by Mattel. And then, of course, here he is alongside the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Bucky Cat. And then for the final and most important size comparison, here we have Bumblebee alongside my original character, Odious, over here. If you want to check him out, I'll leave a link to my website in the description below. And then on the opposite side, we have the NECA Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kirby, aka the King Jack Kirby. And the articulation on Bumblebee is really nice. In fact, YoloPark always does a really great job with the articulation on their Transformers AMK series figures, but I've got to say, I think Bumblebee just might be the most fun to actually handle. And the reason why is because, he's kind of small. He's smaller compared to the other Transformers figures. So Optimus Prime, Megatron, those figures have some amazing articulation, some really like dynamic capabilities. You could do a lot of great things with those figures. But Bumblebee is just more fun to actually handle because he's smaller. So for me personally, I like walking around playing with my action figures, posing them, doing all that kind of stuff. And, that whole experience is just more enjoyable with Bumblebee because of the size. I'm not trying to diss Optimus Prime or Megatron because those figures are absolutely incredible. But as far as like which one out of the three I've had the most fun playing around with, it's Bumblebee by far. This thing is so much fun. And man, they did some great things with the articulation. There's definitely some surprises in here. But let's go ahead and see what we have going on here, starting off with the head. So the head is on a ball joint, so we get some nice like tilting action. He could look side to side. He could look up to about right there, which is really impressive. And then, the lower neck is on like a plate, and the plate has a hinge which allows him to bring his head forward a crazy amount. Look at that. That's something you would get as a result of like being able to transform the figure. So it's really cool that YoloPark incorporated this in here. But yeah, if you want him looking down at something, that's really dope. And yeah, man, just really good movement here at the head. Especially considering that it's mostly just a ball joint, but then that extra plate too gives you a lot of really good stuff. Look at that. Man, that's so cool. And then for the torso, I love what they did here too. So there is like a diaphragm joint in there, but he's got like this big boxy torso. So there are some limitations, but we get some nice like tilt side to side. You can rotate on that. And then, it's kind of hard to explain certain things here because, he's a robot, but he's got his chest, right? And then like underneath here, it's like his stomach or whatever. And a lot of times with Bumblebee figures, when you try to crunch them forward, this big chest piece kind of gets in, it kind of collides with the stomach piece. But they have like a sliding panel in there that when you crunch it forward, the panel goes up and it allows him to crunch forward more. Look at that. So that took me by surprise. That's crazy. And then when you bring him up, like the panel just kind of goes back down. So that is really dope. Yeah, I love what they did there. I mean, you still could only get so much, but that's more than I've seen on a lot of other Bumblebee figures. Again, it's not like you're not going to get him into a crouching pose, really, but that's still very impressive. And, this is a unique way to handle it, and they did a good job with it. And then you can swivel on the joint in there as well. So good stuff here at the torso. And then for the arms, he has like ball joints here at the shoulders that plug into the torso there. So you get his arm to go all the way around. His shoulders can shift around a little bit. Bring his arms in front of him to about right there. Let's see what we could do. He does have upper bicep swivel. So you could get his arms in front of him a decent amount. So yeah, I do like these shoulders. Oh, and you're able to swing his arm out to the side to about right there. Because there is an actual joint on top of, the shoulder ball joint that plugs into the body. So yeah, that's good stuff. Then, as I mentioned, he does have upper bicep swivel. He has really nice double jointed elbows. Look at this. That's really dope. And then for the wrists are on little ball joints, so you can move them around, swivel them, tilt them, do whatever. So pretty good stuff there at the arms. Could we get him into some like nice boxing poses though? Kinda. Yeah, it's not too bad, right? That'll work. I don't know about punching poses, though. Oh, no, yeah, you could definitely get things going here. Yeah, that's nice. So pretty good stuff here at the arms. Again, it's always a challenge with Transformers because they're big old shoulders and big old forearms and stuff, but I think they did a pretty good job with Bumblebee. So I like what they have going on with the arms. And then for the legs, this caught me by surprise too because he actually has drop down hips. Look at that. Like when I was first assembling it, like the ball joint shifted and I thought like, oh shit, did I break it? But no, that's not the case. There's actual drop down hips. They don't drop down a whole lot, but it does give you a little bit more range than you'd get otherwise. So his leg can go forward to right there, come back to right there, come out to the side a really nice amount so you could get him to do some kicks. Yeah, so that's nice. We have a upper thigh swivel. He has double jointed knees. They get a pretty good bend. Not quite as good as the elbow, but still pretty decent. Yeah, that'll work. And then here at the foot, we have a swivel, rocking ankle that goes to about right there. And then you could bring his foot forward. And whoa, look at that. So really good stuff at the foot and just good stuff in general, man. Really great articulation, super fun figure to play with. You could definitely get him into some cool poses. And yeah, man, I'm having a great time messing around with this figure. So I love what they did here. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is a really nice Bumblebee figure. YoloPark did a great job with this, and you know, typically I'm not a big fan of like model kits, especially like the more complicated ones, but I never have to worry about that with YoloPark Transformers figures because the assembly process is just so easy and enjoyable. Like you open these things up, it's very few pieces, they snap together with no problem at all, and once you get them together, they're like really cool versions of classic characters that are super articulated. So they're killing it with this brand, and I'm so happy they finally got around to Bumblebee. This is one of the characters that I was really hoping they'd get around to because I felt like they would do a good job with it, and I think they did, man. They killed it on this figure. It turned out really nice. I love the way it looks. The design looks like he jumped right out of the G1 cartoon. It's really well sculpted. It doesn't have a whole lot of paint work, but I like the paint that we see on the face and on the Autobots logo. And the articulation on this guy is a lot of fun. The figure is very enjoyable to handle. I will say though, like the legs are getting a little loose on me because of the weight of the feet, you know. That's kind of like one of those things that happens frequently with Bumblebee figures because he's got like these big ass feet. So, you know, it kind of puts a little bit of pressure on the hip joint. So, you know, after a couple of days, it's getting a little loose on me. It's not crazy or anything like that, but you know, you definitely notice it. But aside from that, I really don't have any complaints about like the way the figure feels. It's fun to play with, it's posable, and it looks great. As far as the accessories go, I do wish that he came with a little bit more. All he has is 2 sets of hands and a gun. It would have been nice to get some more expressive hands and maybe like an alternate head or something with like a different facial expression. Something like that would have been cool. But yeah, the accessories, you know, it's a little light in the accessory department. It's not a huge deal because of the price, but still, it would have been nice to see a little bit more. And speaking of the price, man, the value that you get out of YoloPark Transformers figures is pretty crazy because these things are not very expensive and they're always really nice. Bumblebee included. This guy costs like 30 bucks or something. And once again, it's just a really nice figure. So yeah, YoloPark is doing a great job with the Transformers stuff. And I'm very happy with the way Bumblebee came out. And you know, I've got to say, man, this guy might end up being my favorite of the line so far. And I'm pretty sure I say that every single time I get one of these. Because every time I get a YoloPark Transformers figure, I'm always impressed. You know, it's like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. But with this one here, it's kind of unique because he definitely caters to my likes. You know, I like figures that I can walk around and play with and, you know, pose around. And because of Bumblebee's size, it's easier to do that with him than it is with Optimus Prime or Megatron or any of the movie figures they put out or whatever. So yeah, this one just kind of appeals to me personally a little bit more. And also, I just really like Bumblebee. He's like a fun, cute character and shit like that. So he's awesome. The figure's awesome. And like I say on almost every non-transforming Transformers figure review I do, I really wish that somebody would give us a super articulated, non-transforming Springer figure. I think YoloPark could do a great job with it. I would be all over that if they decided to. I always say Springer and Soundwave. Soundwave is inevitable. So you know, people are going to release Soundwave figures, but no one shows love to Springer. Hasbro has, obviously, and there's a bunch of third-party Springers out there that are pretty cool. But I want I want a Springer like this. So hopefully YoloPark gets to it eventually. But man, YoloPark is killing it with this type of thing. And it's funny because a lot of other companies have tried to do like, you know, super articulated, non-transforming Transformers figures, and you know, they're kind of all over the place with it. Hasbro had the Red Series, and that kind of sucked. Like there was some potential there, but it kind of fell apart. 3-0 has their thing going, and their figures are amazing, but they're all kind of stylized. And then you have things like the Blockies figures, which are cool, but they're small, they're stylized, and you know, they're not quite like this, but I want things like this, accurate to the source material, whether it's the comics, the cartoons, the movies, whatever, super articulated, fun to put together, and just like an overall enjoyable experience and just a cool action figure of these characters without like the transforming gimmick. Not trying to do away with that. I just want to see this too, you know. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Huge thank you to YoloPark for sending this out to me to take a look at. I really do appreciate it. If you want to buy this figure, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description and in the pinned comments. So be sure to check it out if you're interested. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.